So in the last class, we discussed the government. And we also mentioned the fact that public sector is the sector of the economy that is controlled by government. So in this class, we're talking of why do we need government? Need government. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will not be going to the ideological discussion of do we or do we not need government, especially if you are watching this video from Nigeria, where there's always that argument back and forth that what is government doing for me? We'll be looking in this in the construct of the government and the economy. Why do we need government in the economy? Why? I'm not talking of what do you need government in your daily life or not. Now, if you remember, if you did accounts, one of the drivers, the two major drivers of economy, of how things exchange or how economy is built, is the law of demand and supply. It means that the suppliers or the business owner, entrepreneurs, the entire factor of production is driven by this rule. Is there a demand for it? I will only supply what there's a demand for. And that is where government comes in the matter of economy. Because government has seen that if we leave everything to this rule of demand and supply, there are tendencies that the economy can break down. So in this class, we'll be discussing why do we need government in the economy, not why do we need government generally. Now, yes, like I said, ideologically, one of the reasons you need government for is security. But why do we need government generally? Now, from number one is provision of what we call public good. So what are public goods? Public goods are those goods that while I'm using, I cannot exclude another person from using it. So for example, if there's a provision of street lights, I cannot say the street light should only follow me while I'm working and the person that did not pay taxes should not use it. Now, public goods are usually things that is common to all, and there's a need for law and order for it to be provided. Things like policing, security is a public good. Policing, security is one of those public goods. Now, two, why do we need government is also distribution of income. Or let me use the word redistribution of income. Government can help generally, and there are many ways government can distribute income. One of the veritable ways government can use it is provision of public good by provision of education. You will understand and agree with me that by provision of free education, people can actually move from low income to middle class or higher class, depending on how well you're educated. And then we also need government basically because of market failure. What does that mean? Markets can fail. It means that if we leave the forces of the market to demand and supply, it can actually fail and we government need to step in. One of the failures of market is the fact that a market can actually create monopoly. If I'm the only person that knows how to do something, it's possible because I'm now the only person that supplies it, and there's so many people demanding for it, therefore, it means that I can control my price as I wish. I can even sell fake products nobody would know or nobody can compete with it. I can give a very bad service. Nobody's able to compete with it because I am the only person doing it. In this case, government can step in the economy to ensure that there is nothing like monopoly. Anything that will promote monopoly, government will remove it. Sometimes what government does is to actually step in and do those businesses as a part of public good. I don't know if you remember those days. For example, we used to have Nitel. Nitel was a way of government coming in to provide communication to everyone, irrespective of your class. Two, is what will government will also step in to avoid things what we call negative externalities. What are negative externalities? Now, if we drive production, factors of production, basically based on demand and supply and the market forces, people will produce to the point that they will harm even the people they are producing for. For example, pollution. Now, let's give an instance. If, assuming people are allowed to cut all the woods because they want to make furniture, before you know it, we are going to have global warming. Because all the trees have been cut off. So what does government do? Government use things like taxation and incentive, depending on if it's positive or negative, to mitigate this effect of negative externality. Let's give you an instance of another instance of negative externalities. Smoking. Now, smoking to some people is good. However, there has been research to prove that if a lot of people are smoking, as they grow older, they are going to put a lot of burden on the public goods of, let's say, free healthcare. So what does government do? Government put taxation to discourage people from smoking and also put a lot of taxation on the companies producing the cigarette, therefore to compensate for the amount we need to generate to provide the public goods that relates to provision of hospitals. Another thing that may make government step into an economy is things like asymmetric of information. Asymmetric of information. One fundamental assumption in an open and normal market is that the information available to me is also available to you. Therefore, nobody has monopoly or superior information. Therefore, when I'm about to decide on my buying something that you are supplying, I'm buying it under the assumption, or let me say the pretext or the condition, that I am fully aware of all the information, competitor prices, the features that you're providing before buying. Now, sometimes that may not be, and government will need to step in to make sure that informations are available to everyone. The fourth reason is inequality. Now, this is basically sometimes driven by the normal pyramid of the life, where we have low-income earner, middle class, and what people can call the upper echelon of the society, where they have a lot of resources. Now, sometimes government steps in the economy to provide things, let's say housing. You can see there are some houses that are in, so to say, a very upper level neighborhood that government is trying to provide for people, healthcare, and all those things. Government uses that as a basis of bridging or merging the inequalities in the economy. So, in the next class, we'll be discussing some of the issues around the role, the areas of the roles of people in government. See you in the next class.